Welcome back, everybody. This week's episode of Maximum Octane. This is Kim Hickey here, and I am super excited for my guest today. He's a friend, a colleague, and someone that can simultaneously make me laugh hysterically while wanting to pull every hair out of my head. So today joining us is Mr. Don Walter Sr. He has a lot of irons in the fire. And when you talk about somebody with experience, this gentleman has done everything, been everywhere, seen everything. I think have been in every position imaginable in the automotive industry, haven't you, Don? Is there any position you
pretty much?
And
I could.
Pardon?
Yeah, I've done a lot. And I got the gray hairs to show it, Kim.
You got the gray hairs to show it.
Yes,
and so now you get to spend your days changing lives for other people and coaching them. And you're a certified executive coach and Profit First and a bunch of other things that we could spend a long time going through all of them. But where the rubber meets the road is the impact that you have on many small business owners' lives, including your son. So if we have time, I'd like to circle back to that because new businesses and startups are always a great conversation and a lot of things to be aware of. But today I wanted to have you on because you do an exceptional job with reminding your members about looking ahead, looking forward, having goals. And this is just as good a time as any to talk about them because sadly, many business owners and entrepreneurs can wait till the last minute to make their goals for the next year. And so a lot of them are sitting now, unfortunately, and going, okay, I got to make a plan for next year. So there's whether somebody planned for this year, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years ago, or just sitting down for next year to do it. What's some advice that you have for them?
I think the most simple advice is again, just making it simple. Don't give yourself a whole lot of unattainable goals. Make it easy, make it trackable, okay, and stick to them. But don't try to overthink your goals. Make them easy. All right. I've got a new philosophy now called simple stupid, and I tell you, it's just trying to not make my life too complicated. And the description that Kim just gave sounds like my life is very complicated, but I kind of like to keep things simple. Okay, so when it comes to the goals that I like to have my members set are goals that they can get their team around. Okay, things that they can focus in on, things that can make the biggest impact in their business.
And I think it's important that I point out because I know that when I speak to someone after they hear this, they're going to say, oh, no, God, Don said I didn't have to have a big goal, Kim. He said to keep it simple. So we're not talking about the size of the goal. We're talking about the complexity for the implementation, execution, and all of that. So because, Don, the listeners are very good at hearing little pieces that they want to take away. And so I have to stop and clarify.
Just like our members.
Yeah, so I have to stop and clarify because I don't want anybody going, nope. I heard you and Don say don't have big goals, just keep them simple. So simple does not mean small.
For me, all right, so let's say, for instance, we're setting up for 2023, okay? And our easy go-to is to say, oh, let's just do a 10% increase. Well, that's not good enough. All right.
No.
So, yeah, I got a goal, but, I like to make that sales goal simple, but I also want to make it where you have to really work at it. Okay. Put it that way. I'm sorry that, because like I said, 10%, a 10% increase, you're going to get that automatically, I think. If you did nothing different in your world, that's going to happen.
Well, and I just looked up yesterday right now what the cost of living index is, and it's, I think, 9.7% for this month is what it came in at. So if your goal is to increase only 10%, you're going backwards for sure, because that's going to be the break even just for the increases in costs. And that's not even, including all the inflation and the things that are going to be happening. Why do
And
you
that's kind of where I've been challenging members. I've been challenging my members. Don't be complacent with the 10%, because if you think about it, if I raise my labor rate X number of dollars, and with inflationary cost on parts, I'm going to have an artificial goal to begin with. Okay, like I said, if I do nothing different than I did in 2022, I'm going to end up with a 10% increase. So maybe my goal needs to be a 20% increase. Maybe it needs to be a 22% increase. And people freak out about that, but to me it's an attainable goal.
What about I don't want to call it a pitfall, but I've seen sort of a just blanket mentality from anyone I speak to in any industry, because last year for most people was a banging year, much better than the year before. So they had this great growth, but many of the people that had the great growth were nowhere near they were supposed to be the year before. So when we get stuck on next year, we're going to have a 10% increase or 20% increase and just pick arbitrary numbers, it leaves a lot on the table. Because if last year you were only operating at 20% of your business, you had 80 left on the table, and then you increased it by 50% this year, well, you're still need more, right, to even get where you were supposed to be to begin with. So many times in speaking to people, right, they'll be like, oh no, I had a 50% increase in business last year, I'm doing amazing. And it's like, your business was horrible the year before, so you're not doing amazing. We want you to celebrate that you had 50% growth, but 50% over horrible is only half is not horrible, right? Anymore. It's not. So they got to be strategic with looking at what their capacity, what is that machine built for, what is possible with their physicality, their location, and then look at crew, what do we need, and let's talk about some of those things.
Well, I mean, part of it is that you have to know the capacity of your building. Okay, what is your building actually built for? And that's part of my goal setting also is, you need to know what you need to put in place in order to achieve certain goals. Okay, so you need to know what your facility is built for. And a lot of us say, I can't do any more out of a 3-bay. I can't do any more out of a 4-bay. But the reality is that this building is built to do a certain dollar amount.
Correct.
Do you really know that number? Okay. And if you don't know the number, you need to figure it out, first off. And then you can actually put your goal together by saying, okay, do I need to hire another person? Do I need another service advisor in order to achieve these goals? And again, Don, I get the story is, we're running into the slow period of time. Well, if that's the mentality that you're going to take, you're going to run into a slow period of time. What's that movie? Field of Dreams, build it, they will come.
Yes,
that's my
Field of Dreams.
Okay, build it, they will come.
I'm glad you brought that up, because so many times I see people building their goals on their current staffing model and not what is possible. What is the building the built for? What are you, if you have a fleet, how many the sky is really the limit, right, for that. But let's say, well, I can't set a goal that high, Kim, because I only have 2 people right now. We're not building your goal for what you have right now. A goal is to stretch and move forward, and you have to find the people to fill it. And when so many times we see people in business do it the opposite, they build it to exactly the people they have or the current productivity model that they have, and then they just hope that maybe, I don't know what's going to change. They're just going to wake up one morning and something's going to be completely different. And if you don't have that goal in mind, then we're never going to hire enough people. We're never going to get to where we have to get to fulfill that goal.
And I agree 100%, because a lot of our philosophy is that we try to save ourselves into a profit. You're in the automotive business. You're also in the sales business. Okay. Our job is to sell parts and time. Okay. We sell parts and labor. So we're in a sales organization as much as we are in the automotive repair business. So in order to compensate for that, you have to sell, right? Be ethical, be forthcoming, but you got to sell. So if you pigeonhole yourself into having just those two people, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be stuck, and you're never going to be able to see the full potential of what a goal setting could be for you. You know, and I say that to my members all the time. If I have an opportunity to bring somebody on, and they say, well, things are going to slow down. Well, if you have that mantra that things are going to slow down, guess what's going to happen? They'll slow down. That's what happens. So you build it,
Absolutely.
okay, and you build it, and then it's your job to make sure that you're able to, put stuff into it that makes it happen. That's all.
I'm giggling because I know you've been on many of the same kind of conversations or meetings as I with members, and you have a conversation with them about what the physical capacity of their building is, and what it's built for in just even the regular standard, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 week. We'll hold on to talking about shifts or adding another crew for the evening or whatever. But if you just take the standard, I would say the majority of the people that when we first start running that drill with them, they're probably less than 50%, would you say, of what the capacity is? And they
Ooh,
just right away are like,
probably even less than 50.
yeah, they're just like, no way,
Yeah.
we can't do that. We've never done that. And that's the statement that just, it sounds corny, but it hurts my heart when I hear, we'll never be able to do that. And again, as soon as you put that out there and say, we're never going to be able to do that, you're right. You'll never be able to do that, because if that's your mindset. And I had a conversation with somebody the other day about capacity, and they were just kind of arguing and pushing back on everything about it. And they're like, well, no, because we can't put that in there. We can't put this kind of a vehicle in there and this and all this stuff. And I'm like, it doesn't change that it's there. And when you went to the bank and you got a loan and they calculated how you're going to pay it back, and, the capacity and how many bays and how many hours you would be open, they looked at that. They didn't go, oh, yeah. The bank didn't say, we're not going to count that one because your mother-in-law keeps her car there. That's where your jet ski is, or you got a project car or whatever. And we gotta stop looking at we can't use that bay. We can't do that. And how many times that's just a flat stall. There's no lift. Get a freaking lift. Get a lift. Put something in there. You can put something in there. It's just crazy, but they get so set in, this is what I have. I'm looking at it. Oh no, that's empty, or that's got one of my cars in there. So we can't count that.
You know what's funny, Kim, is this year I've really challenged a lot of my members that have had one service advisor behind the counter. And that's, why do we have one service advisor? Well, that's the way we've always done it. Okay. So I kind of challenged them, and I've had a lot of them buy into my theory that bring another service advisor in. And a lot of them, again, don't see the big picture. And I'm trying to sell the big picture to them. And now that I've sold the big picture to them, these people right now are thanking me for having that additional person behind the counter. Not to make their life easier, but they are also able to sell more services. They're able to move more product. And, one person off the top of my head has now been the top shop, and he's in the top shop rankings again this year. And it's a 3-bay shop. I've got 2 service advisors, and he was never a top shop before. So, and he's doing things that he never thought he could do before, because he is actually buying Don's stuff, if that makes sense. But you just got to have trust. You got to have trust in your abilities, okay? And if you're second guessing yourself, maybe you need to have somebody else push you a little harder. That's all.
You have to have that vision, and that's part of the goal setting is, right? So one, you mentioned about keeping them simple, and that doesn't mean small. It means have an actionable plan that somebody could follow without 10 people analyzing it and 10,000 exceptions, right? And then you have to look ahead and look at what's possible, and not, you got to get out of that doesn't work, or we can't do that, or we can't whatever, because it doesn't. And so many people really limit themselves on the staffing. And instead of, like you said, if they come and they add somebody that appears to be extra on, you have to build a model and say, now with these two people, this is the sales and the profit we have to generate. And so these are the steps we're going to take to get there. Instead of saying, I can't do that. We still see that sometimes, and any industry, not just ours, but I'll talk to somebody,
Absolutely.
they're desperate for help. And then, they'll be excited. They got an interview, and I'll be like the next day, how was the interview? Oh my God, they wanted too much money. What is too much money? You have that person not generating any product, service, or whatever income right now. And then, so there is no, they want too much money. Adjust your prices accordingly. If you have a great person, you have to put them on, and then you have to say, this is now what we have to charge to accommodate this. It's so crazy that everybody's still clinging to so we got to staff up. And what about, while we're talking about staffing,
Well,
we got to staff
back
for
to that
what's
point. Well, back to that point where you just said we got to stop that. You got to think of what this person's going to bring to my business, not what the negative parts are. Yes,
right.
they're
Not
going
what
to
they're going to
cost more money,
cost, what they're going to
but in the
add.
long run, what is right? What is the benefit? Okay, what are the possibilities? And that's really part of your goal setting. What are the possibilities here? If you bring that extra person, can I effectively sell to a customer? Can I make it more of a relationship instead of a transaction? When you got customers standing at the counter, the phone's ringing, the text over your back. Am I making it a transaction, or am I making it a relationship? Okay. So by adding that person, can I add more relationship building to my business where my customers feel more value? Right? Do they feel more value? Do they trust me more? Instead of just saying, "Oh, thank you for your $500. Have a nice day." Okay, so those are little things I think that people need to look at. Also, what is the value that this additional person is going to bring? Okay, and again, if you're going to look at goals, you may have to add a person. Okay, where do you want to take your business? If you want to be status quo and you want to be mediocre, then okay, stay status quo, stay mediocre. Or do you want to grow it and get better customer service, possibly make a little bit more money for yourself and make more money for your employees? Because it's just not about you. Because if your business is making more money, you should be sharing that a little bit more with your people. Maybe they won't leave you, right? Maybe they feel the gratitude.
Retention. Have a retention
Just saying.
plan. Let's add that to our goal list. Not only acquisition, but what's our retention plan for our goals for next year? And you need a plan. Just hoping that you're nice to people and you buy pizzas and you whatever. That's not. You have to have an actual plan. There's companies out there doing some really outside of the box, which I hate that term, but offering benefit packages to the individual, not the blanket. Everybody, you come to work for Don's Auto, everybody gets 2 weeks vacation, everybody gets 401k, everybody gets health insurance, everybody gets whatever. Who cares? Everybody doesn't want that. When you are done, do you remember when you were 18 years old and full of life? Did you think you needed life insurance or any kind of eyeglass dental program? I mean, you're invincible,
I don't
right?
know if I
I
could
mean,
go back to 18.
you don't know if you remember, but you're invincible, right? So that's not
Yeah.
important. If you talk to somebody in their early 20s right now, at least most of the people I talk to, they're not, that is what they're going to retire with is the first thing from their mind. They want stuff in the here and the now. They want to be in companies that give back to the community. They want to be appreciated as a person. They want a career path. They want training. And so we have to stop looking at this one size fits all. So your retention program needs to include that. How can we adjust our benefits so we can look at people as an individual? I just had another conversation with somebody last week about holidays. And something as simple as if you have 7 paid holidays, right, for the year, let people pick their own. Not everybody celebrates the bank holidays. They don't want to. And so let them work. Who cares? Everything is online. We have so much online training. If they don't want to have off on Columbus Day or Christmas or 4th of July, let them work. Let them do online training for the day and then give them off the holiday that means something to them. It's simple. It doesn't have to be a big complicated thing. So with the staffing and their goals needs to be acquisition and retention plan, and an active one, not just, hey, what happens. More and more people are understanding that you need to hire 1 to 2, 1.5 extra people for positions because of people being sick, increased vacation time, PTO time, not having people, so on and so forth. So again, that's something that people seem to rather be shorthanded for 7 months, 8 months out of the year than to quote unquote overpay or overstaff for 2 months out of the year. What do you say about that?
I agree, especially as some of my shops have people that have 4 weeks vacation. So you take the 4 weeks vacation and then you take the holidays. There's 5 weeks that we're missing a person, so that's a month. So what are you doing for
that's
that
a month?
month?
And we hope if you have more than one person with that, and then that's if they never get sick or have an unexpected thing.
Correct.
So
and I go back to COVID. How many people were shorthanded for COVID? If you didn't learn a lesson from that, shame on you. Because it's still out there. The flu's out there. All these other little things are out there that are kicking people's butts.
The flu is mysteriously back now, right?
Yeah. So
the flu is mysteriously back.
Yeah. Thank you, Anthony Fauci. But I'm just saying, you got to build your business for success. Okay. Don't pigeonhole yourself. Don't say that it doesn't work here. All right. That is a sentence that I absolutely hate. It doesn't work here. What does that mean? It doesn't work here. How do you even know? Have you ever tried? Most of us haven't even tried. Most of us haven't stepped out of our comfort zone for it to even work. Here's the thing. A lot of my members have changed point of sale systems, and it's so easy to get into it and go, "Oh, this isn't working for me." You know why? Because you're not giving it the opportunity, right? And that's what happens with staffing. We typically don't give the opportunity for my business to flourish through staffing it correctly. Putting the right people in the right place. Or putting enough people in the right place for this to work. So you can't have any goals unless you really know where you want to take your business. And if you want to be mediocre, don't set goals.
Reactionary, keep being reactionary.
Yeah, and that's what in the automotive industry we are very reactionary. How many times in your life have you heard, Kim, that it's January, February, March. It's January and February. We're always slow. Okay. A lot of times you're slow because you built it to be slow. What marketing have you done? What ideas have you come up with? Customers have spent too much money at Christmas. They still need to fix the cars.
I just talked to somebody the other day and they said something about the sale and they're like, well, next week when you look at my numbers, don't expect them to be any good. And I said, what's you have a crystal ball? Well, hunting season and wherever, and I forgot what kind of game it is for. And they said the whole town closes up pretty much and everybody goes hunting. So I said, so this is brand new this year. First time this has ever happened. This is a new stamp or new season or, oh no, for 50 years or whatever since I've been around. So 50 years we've known about this, that this week, particular week of the year, that this happens. And I don't care how small the town is, every single person doesn't hunt or go to 4-H or go to the fair or whatever the heck it is going on in your neck of a butter churning competition. a chili cook-off. I don't care what it is that your town celebrates. There are people that don't participate and need to be in. And if this is something that happens every single year, the same exact day and week of the month, shame on you. And you don't deserve to have a business. I'm just going to make that statement. You don't deserve to have a business if every year you are willing to just say, yeah, it's that time of year again. It's slow every year this week, and don't do a damn thing about it. You don't deserve to be have a business. You don't. Get out of the
what I
way.
mean. So, yeah, January,
Hire
February, it's
COO.
always
Yeah.
slow.
And every
Yeah,
month,
I agree.
I think one time we were sitting around and we might even all been having drinks as coaches about what's all the excuses for every month. And it was like, I think October was the only month we didn't have, but it was like, November was Thanksgiving, December, people were Christmas shopping, September was back to school, August, the kids were on school break. Every single month there was this reason that people make excuses for. And so you got to get out of that. You got to get out of that. So also for next year's goals, we know that people will stay on people for one more second because we need people for a business. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to scream, explode, jump up and down. I don't know what of the conversations and in our industry, especially, but I hear it in my friends that have businesses, regardless of what industry. We're desperate for people. We need people. What kind of mentorship program do you have, or apprenticeship program? And, oh, no, we don't have time for that. We're too busy for that to train anybody. We need experienced people right now. I don't have, you talk, because if I'm going to start getting like,
I think
I have to calm myself
right,
down a minute.
I like the people that say that there's nobody out there. Okay, you might be right. It's harder. Okay, it's harder. But what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, I placed an ad. Oh boy, are you networking?
We've seen those ads.
Are you getting your business out there? Are you, are you talking to other businesses? Are you really looking in the right places? And yes, it's hard. Don't get me wrong. It's hard out there. To find an experienced A tech, yeah, good luck. The point of it is that are you really looking in the right places, or are you waiting for that person just to walk through your front door? Are you networking your business? Are you marketing it in the fashion to get customers and people? Think about that. You can do dual marketing, but if you're going to sit back and wait and be reactionary, it's not going to happen for you. Or if you say it's too expensive to put an ad out, okay, what are you losing? Right? What are you losing in
I'm gonna spit fire in a second, because you just reminded me of they cost too much to put an ad on Indeed, and what, I don't know, $500. If you spend $10,000 on an ad that got you an amazing person versus losing $100,000 for not having them, I just that small thinking just kills me. Kills me.
Well, again, are you setting yourself up for success? That comes back to goal setting. The goal. What do you want? What do you want out of your business? What do you see for your people? And maybe it's just not for you. Maybe it's, what do I see for my employees? I thank my members all the time for taking on this responsibility. Because you do, as an owner of a business, any business, you have taken the responsibility of not just your family, but the families of all your employees. So how good of a steward of that are you? And that's what you really got to look at. Am I a good steward, not just to my family, but my employees' families? Do they live a comfortable life? Do they, and I know we can't control the way people live. I call them life choices. But same token, do we give them the opportunity because we're good stewards of our business? Right? And again, I thank my members all the time for taking that responsibility, because there's not a lot of people out there can actually do that. But with that said, you have taken on responsibilities of other people's families. Okay, so setting goals, maybe not just for yourself or your business. Maybe you set it for your internal customers. Maybe you set it up
It's your
for, you
duty.
know, yeah, absolutely, 100%. You know, I have some owners that say, Donna, I don't need to get rich. Well, it's not about getting rich. It's about being comfortable. It's about helping your employees be comfortable.
I'm
Okay,
so
and
glad
they
you
can do
just
that in
mentioned
their.
that because we do hear that a lot. And when we talk about, are they at the right price point? Are they at the right sales goals? Are they at, all of the business aspect? Well, many times we'll hear, I don't need any more money. And even my friends that are not in our industry, we're comfortable. We don't need anything else. You don't need anything else, but do your employees need anything else? Do your internal customers need anything else? Do you have
Right.
nonprofits in your area that you can help? And so it's not about just filling your pockets. And I don't know why sometimes business owners feel guilty and they're like, oh, I'm making money now. I have to stop and I can't progress. And it's a machine that you created that has to be fed. And if you don't continue to grow and put effort into it because you have enough money or you're currently making enough money, you're going to wind up losing everything because you're not putting in more effort into it. And so many times we see, and one of the biggest things we hear about too from internal customers, the employees, is, oh, well, yeah, they're making enough money. They have a big house, they have a boat, they have a vacation home they're always talking about. We're always working on their cars. I don't have that. And I'm not saying that your internal customers are entitled to making an equal amount of money because they're not. You're putting the risk out, your financial stuff's in a line, your whatever. That's a completely different conversation. But if you truly are comfortable and don't want any more money in your household and whatever, you still have an obligation to continue to grow your business and then give back more of it, then give a bigger piece to your internal customers. For sure. That I have enough money is the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. It's so stupid. I can't even, because there's other people that don't have enough that you can share with, that you can do whatever. And if you don't keep feeding that business, then it's gonna die like anything else. So I can't
I
believe
agree.
how quick this time went. One other thing I know you will be sad if you don't mention, because you are a big proponent of it, is a training schedule. So I don't want to end this without you mentioning about having a training schedule for the next year.
Well, if you setting yourself up for success, training is part of success. So you're only as good as the people you put yourself around. So if you're not helping your internal customers, your employees get better, okay, shame on you. So right now is a great time to kind of look at training sessions or schedules that are coming up, and let's get these people in. Okay, stop coming up with the excuses that I can't do this or I can't do that. We're too busy. Set the schedule up now. I hear a lot of tech training programs. I can't take my tech out for a couple hours. What are you missing out on? So put the schedule together. Go over it with your employees so they have the idea. They have an idea when that's going to happen. So we're prepared. Okay. So in other words, be prepared. And again, at ATI we have lots of training classes. Well, the schedule's out there. It's time to set that plan in place now. Stop shooting from the hip.
And there's the
Because if you
other
shoot from the
place
hip, it won't
where
happen.
you mentioned that probably with holidays, vacation time, people being sick and all, you got to plan on your internal customers probably being out a month a year, right? When all is said and done. Training is part of that you have to build in there, and that's where you need those quote unquote extra people, or what some people think is overstaffed, because if they're out a month, each employee an entire month between holidays, vacation, and even a month and a half, maybe, if you look at putting training in there, you're going to always need those extra people, right? And so don't leave yourself short when it's too lean and you're trying to have the minimum people there. It does make it more challenging for training and other things. And no one should feel guilty taking off for vacation. No one should feel guilty that they're leaving the line for 2 hours to go to training or any of that. So get your stuff in order, because Dawn and I are going to come back and make sure that you did it all and give you stuff. And
Absolutely.
while you're doing your 2023 at the last minute, for those of you that are, you need to sit down with your coach or whoever it is that you work with in your life or your application, and start working on your 24 and 25 years, because we really should be having a 3-year plan going. But I'll be happy if some of you get done your stuff for 2023 this week.
But you know what, Kim? That's the other thing. Life passes us by so quickly. So before you know it, 2024 is here. It's
It
hard to
is.
believe that we're going to be in December of 2022. It just feels like we just started it. Okay. Maybe because I'm getting older, I don't know, but it does come by quick. And if the longer you put things off, next thing you know, it's already passed by. So you're right. 2024 should be a goal setting point. 2025, again,
And you can always go
life
back
goes
and
by
tweak
so quick.
them. Yeah, you can always go back and
Well,
tweak
yeah.
them, but you got to have that plan and stop living moment by moment and just running everything so reactionary. Well, I thank you for taking
Yep.
time out of your busy day today and sharing some of your wisdom with us. And definitely
Anything for you, Miss Hickey.
want to have you back for the whole startup business, family dynamics.
We don't have enough time for that.
Oh, we haven't. Listen, that's the beauty of it being my show. I can make all the time in the world for whatever we
Awesome.
want to talk about. So
Yes.
thank you so
Great.
much for joining me. And everybody, listen to Don or you're going to get it. I'm going to
That's
send him
right.
after you. Everybody stay safe, make good choices, stay inspired, and I will be back next week.